Are you going to do double duty on guitar? For both
No, he's got his guitar player,
okay.
the George Lynch guy. And then I got at the end and I jam with him at the end. That's keeps people around. You want to stay around and watch Dawkins because I'll be coming back out.
Yeah, speaking of the new Lynch Mob album, did you bring any copies with you today?
I don't even have one.
Oh, is that right? I've heard little snippets from it and it sounds great.
I'll tell you, the best record that I've heard this, well, I mean, like mainstream rock, is New Alice in Chains.
Yes.
That is ridiculous. That one like sent me back to the woodshed.
Hey, I got another call. I was at your the Souls of We show at Club Red over here.
Oh yeah.
Great show, but you know what was going on there? London was kind of all over the stage.
He was on
you could
taking
tell you
cold
were
medicine and
frustrated.
Jack Daniels all day. Black leather dress with the wrappings and the bloody pitchfork with the cow horns and.
Well, I can tell you were frustrated. Something was not.
It was our first show. We drove out 7 hours, 105. We got a flat on our trailer. I mean, it was our first show as a band. Our first show ever. I mean, it was okay, but we got better since then.
Oh, okay.
Like the next day, we got better.
All right, George, I got the dumbest question for you.
So,
Since you guys opened up and toured with Rolling Stones, is Keith Richards really still alive, or are they working on with puppet string?
you were thinking about that question.
I was for a while.
that time the Rolling Stones opened up for us, you mean? Keith, as my guitar tech, actually. Keith Richards, I think his name was.
Yeah.
He wasn't very good. I had to fire him. I put 5 strings on the guitar.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
I got two. One is, I just got to ask, because I looked everywhere, why is the Bones guitar called Mom?
Oh, that's sad. Well, I won't talk about that.
Oh, okay. I just couldn't figure it out, so.
We shouldn't let employees ask questions. Just people that are here today. Students, yes.
What's your favorite song?
My favorite song? That's a weird. I mean, it sounds like an easy question, but it's a difficult question because, you know, it's not the song. It's really like that moment, that performance. Like it could be any song.
Right.
And really, personally, generally, it's when we do our jams. Like now, Souls of We does this whole thing where after my guitar solo, we do this whole frickin' 15-20-minute jungle beat jam thing that we've sort of turned into a song. Now I play slide and everything. It's so fun. Everybody goes off. And that to me is awesome because it's different every day. So we're actually writing. I mean, we're composing in front of the audience and they're experiencing the creative moment versus the recreative moment. And that's what I grew up with in the 60s and 70s was Hendrix and Cream and jam bands. That just, you know, because every band I was in when I was a kid, we didn't have songs. We just improvised. Always improvised, you know. And it's kind of a lost art, I think. So that's my favorite thing to do is improvise personally. And then when it works, sometimes it's like being on a tightrope. So that's what's exciting about watching improvisation because it's kind of like, are they going to make it or where's it going to go? And I'm like, oh shit. Or, you know, those kind of people are cheering for you. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm going, God, I hope this goes somewhere. I hope I play good.
What do you like to improvise like out of?
It's all about the beat. It's all about the drum beat. To me, that's what's inspiring. When I write songs, it all starts with the beat. And then if I get a drum beat, you know, I'm just like, give me something like this. I'll have something in my head, or the drummer will just come up with something. Ooh, just keep doing that. And I couldn't really explain to you what the beat is. I mean, it could be anything, you know. And what I do, and what I'm sure a lot of people here do, when they won't admit it, besides what you're thinking, is the other thing that you won't admit is that everybody plagiarizes to a certain extent. So you listen to somebody else, and even if you don't do it consciously, you're always biting off other people's stuff. I mean, that's just not music. That's everything. You know, build on the shoulders of the predecessors, but definitely, I mean, if you listen to somebody's song, you go, oh shoot, I love that beat or that riff, and you're not intentionally biting it, but you're just sort of taking the spirit of it and then doing it your own way. And that's, I say, the number one inspiration for me, because when I was a kid, all I did was play along with records, and that's how I learned to learn. You know, it was just playing along and mimicking. But I could never mimic anything very good. And the way it came out was kind of like my own thing, you know, kind of my own. And so people be like, "Wow, you came up with that?" I go, "Yeah, wow, you're a genius." But actually, I'm just trying to steal shit, but doing it really if that's a good explanation, convoluted explanation.
So, well, thank you, first of all. My fingers hurt. But, I mean, how old were you when you started playing, and
10.
who made you want to play? And what were some of those records you were playing along with?
Beatles, I Want to Hold Your Hand was my first 45, you know, the 45 changer, and then I got into, I think my second 45 was Aretha Franklin, and then Question Mark and The Experience, 96 Tears. Remember that song? I mean, this is how old I am. This is awesome. I got all this cool stuff I pulled from, and then back Hendrix, Clapton, Page, the Big Four, and everybody that came after. I learned from everybody, I mean, all up to Yngwie and all the new guys, you know. I sit around and listen to Mastodon, I listen to Opeth, I listen to all the new stuff, you know, Alexi Leo, Meshuggah, you know, anybody that's good. I mean, Brad Paisley, jazz players, blues players, country players, you know, just learn from all of them, you know, Ry Cooder, whatever. It's all good. It's all good stuff. And, but I started when I was 10, 55, so I've been 45 years. Except for the 1 year that my parents sent me away to live in the mountains and took my guitar. They told me they were going to send me my guitar. They never did, so I didn't have a guitar for a year. And when I got home, I started playing again. I had my 60 Les Paul Special. It was still in my room, and my brother was watching me. I picked up the rusty strings on it. I couldn't play. I mean, I was like a third of the guitar player I was when I left, because I was actually pretty good when I left. And that was pretty heartbreaking. It was like, well, you're not very good anymore. I'm like, ouch. I dedicated myself to just stay in my room every day and just practice. You know, and play along to, God, like, I mean, it'd be embarrassed to tell you some of the records I played along to. But previous to when all the rock stuff came out, I like to play along to a lot of R&B, flamenco, jazz. You know, one record I had, which I wore out with Chambers Brothers, Time. You know that song? It's a whole side of a record. The Time Has Come Today, you know that song? Everybody know that song? I just jammed to that endlessly. Echo and everything. And, but Hendrix just, yeah, the Gypsies lived off that. Johnny Winter, everything. Any guitar player that came along, I listened to him. So there's probably my list of guys that didn't like much smaller than the guys I liked. I didn't have any one particular person.
At the age of 10, what got you inspired to play guitar or to start?
Beatles.
And did you have support from your family?
Yeah.
Or was it kind of a taboo? Oh,
No, not at first. Tremendous support. I learned flamenco guitar initially, well, as much as a 10-year-old can, you know, Malagueña and stuff like that. And but of course, then when I started becoming like a teenager, I grew my hair long, which was like a kind of a rebellious thing to do in the '60s. You know, I was like, oh, scary guy, you know, long hair. So, and you know, I was a good kid. But I did a couple of things I wasn't supposed to do. Maybe I drank a beer once or something. That's when my parents sent me away to the mountains. They thought rock and roll was a bad influence on the guitars, and took it away. So I constantly remind my dad of that. He tells me that the reason for my success, or this is success, whatever this is because of him. I remind him of that whole year that he took my guitar away from me and moved me to the mountains and shaved my head. I did it in front of my mom, that's why I should respect. But hey, this is a wonderful time, actually.
George, did you get any foundation from another player or instructor or something? Lessons?
Get
Did you get any
instruction
lessons?
yourself.
Oh, well, I told you my story about my teacher, that my biggest inspiration, you know, like tangible, real person, real world kind of thing, John Bolton, was Jim Spider Taylor, was my guitar teacher at Al Kaler Music. Little story just like this, when I was, I believe, 14, and I lived about 4 or 5 miles away. I live in Paramount, California. They were in Lakewood, California. So I read my little 10-speed, got my guitar in the case, ride with one hand. I get there 2 hours early. I have lessons once a week, and I get there 2 hours early. I just sit there and play because I always wanted to impress him. And I just sit in my, my half hour with him, which was just went by like that, you know. And this is my whole week was just centered around this half hour with this gym, and I just